line. The vote comes at what diplomats call the most dangerous point in bilateral relations since 1994. Still in the news, the U.S. has sanctioned 29 ships and their management companies for allegedly transporting Iranian oil products worth hundreds of millions of dollars. U.S. Treasury says the latest measure also targeted an Egyptian businessman, Hatim Sark, whose companies were said to be connected to 7 of the ships. Meanwhile, this report says that the U.S. mission in Nigeria has hosted a welcome reception in Lagos for 54 young Nigerian professionals who completed the 2025 Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders at top U.S. colleges and universities. Selected from more than 7,400 applicants, the fellows represent some Nigerians best in business and entrepreneurship, civic leadership, and public management. Speaking at the event, U.S. Consul General Rick Swart welcomed the fellows into the 14,000 members U.S. government exchange alumni network. He urged them to uphold high leadership standards as they apply their U.S. experience to strengthen both Nigeria and the United States. Elsewhere, Benin's President Patrice Talon says most of the army did not support a recent forward coup attempt. The attempt, which targeted the government and led to several deaths, was stopped within hours with quick support from Nigeria. Speaking in Cotonou, President Talon described the plotters as thugs and small-scale terrorists encouraged by marginal political actors. Ghana's parliament has approved amendments to the Bank of Ghana Act to limit central bank financing of the government and safeguard its independence. The Bank of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025 bars the central bank from buying government securities on the primary market and tightens emergency lending rules, now limited to natural disasters, presidential crises, or public health emergencies. The reform comes after criticism over heavy central bank support during the COVID-19 pandemic, which contributed to inflation, negative equity at the Bank of Ghana, and limited access to international capital markets. Under the new law, all direct or indirect government loans are banned, except in exceptional, clearly defined circumstances with repayment terms capped and parliamentary approval required. The legislation also strengthened board eligibility rules and audit oversight, aligning with the IMF program to stabilize inflation and restore investor confidence. Finance Minister Kassel Ato Forson said the reforms will strengthen the central bank while maintaining its autonomy. Still in West Africa, Togo has approved the National Social Protection Policy to strengthen the fight against poverty and reduce vulnerability. The policy aims to support the most vulnerable, including those affected by illness, unemployment, or old age, or natural disaster, by providing income security and better access to essential services. It will consolidate existing programs, improve coordination across public initiatives, and guide actions into key areas like health, education, nutrition, and child protection. The policy also seeks to extend coverage to groups often excluded from formal social security, such as informal workers, women, and young people. Moving away from stories in West Africa, a local security sources says M23 rebels remain active in Uvira despite announcing a withdrawal. After capturing Goma and Bukavu earlier this year, M23 took Uvira near the Burundi border on December 10, days after the DR Congo and Rwanda signed a U.S. brokered peace deal. The offensive drew strong U.S. condemnation for violating the accord. On Wednesday, M23 said it had begun pulling out and urged mediators to protect the city from violence. But Thursday reports indicate plain-clothed M23 agents were still seen on the street and at strategic points. South Kivu Provincial Authority said M23 forces were 9 kilometers from Uvira with artillery, adding they had no intention of returning. In another development, Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madoubaly met his Lebanese counterpart, Naufal Salam, in Beirut to discuss strengthening bilateral ties focusing on economic cooperation. The official reception at the Grand Sierra included national anthems and full honors. The leaders reviewed cooperation in the economy, energy, industry, and transport. Madoubaly, who arrived Thursday for a two-day visit, is also expected to meet President Joseph Aoun and Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri. His visit comes amid international and Arab effort to ease tensions in southern Lebanon and prevent a wider confrontation with Israel. You're watching the African News and Voice of the People TV, and with us in the studio to help analyze the stories that you've listened to thus far is Dr. Peter Anosike. He's an erudite scholar, also a political and political affairs commentator, as well as an author. Good afternoon, Dr. Peter Anosike.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you join today's African News. Let's start off from the revelation we got that Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madoubaly, is in Lebanon to meet with the Lebanese counterpart, Naufal Salam, in Beirut to discuss how to strengthen the bilateral ties, focusing on economic and also cooperation. What do you make of this over the fact that some parts of Lebanon at this point is facing some challenges, saying that they are trying to prevent Israeli confrontation in those axes? What do you have to say about this? And how long do you think that this cooperation is going to last without an offensive?
Egypt is now playing a big brother role in the Arab world because, one, there have been stability in Egypt for some time now, and their economy is also doing very, very well. So, and because of that, insecurity, instability may also affect them because they have boundaries with all these countries. So what they are doing is 10 times cheaper to prevent than to cure. So I feel that's why he decided that to go to there and make sure that because as Palestinian has their own Hamas. Lebanon also has Hezbollah. So it's good that these people are rending. If they are rending and there stability that's in the Middle East, understand, it's going to benefit Israel and also the other nations.
But do you think that this, this meeting and this cooperation in any way is going to ease the tension already perceived within the Middle East, where we have the Arab and also even international organization or international bloc now looking at it already? Because you made mention of Hezbollah, and you know that sometimes they can carry out some offensive, just like we saw play out in Palestine when Hamas decided to encroach on Israeli soil and also kill. And when Israel decided to reciprocate, I use the word loosely, reciprocate, some persons come up to say, they are committing war crime, they are committing genocide, they are doing this and all that. Will this meeting, this particular meeting now in any way ease the already perceived tension? Are we going to see a party that joined this cooperation today, more like breach whatever agreement?
It will help. Right now, the economy of Iran is down. And Iran is the one that is financing most of the terrorist organizations in the Arab world. They are financing Hezbollah, or they are financing Hamas, ISIS, and so on and so forth. Even right now, they cannot even find water to bathe. And there's going to be a revolution in Iran which will topple the government. So Hezbollah and Hamas cannot do anything because their source of funding is drying up.
Why do we still have this tension in the Middle East, and what does will I say most of the Arab nations now have against Israel? Recall after the 1940s Arab-Israeli war,
1947.
we were hoping and believing that maybe peace, because there was recognition of the Israeli nation. We're hoping that peace at this point would have been restored.
What was
we're still getting it back and forth.
What was recognized then was a two-state. Two states.
Yeah.
That was when that's Arafat was still strong. But now Israel don't really want that two-state solution because it's not safe having your enemy at your window, which is exactly what. And these guys have not been tolerating enough. I mean, the Palestinian. Or they are not happy that Israel was granted independence. So since then, this war has been on, but thank God to America, they have been doing enough to make sure that Israel is not extinguished, because this is what is in the mind of the Arab world.
When you say Israel will not be extinguished, do you think with the military might that they have now, the strength that it must have accumulated over the years, and we also saw the bombardment of Palestine to the point that there were talks and permutation about moving them to South Sudan? Are we still seeing, Israel now living in fear, or maybe residing within the Arab nations now, in fear of minority and all that? Recall, they gained their independence as a sovereign nation, though living under the policy of a two recognized nation and all that. So are we still seeing Israel now as, a country striving to survive within the Arab Peninsula?
No, Israel is now a superpower. It has advanced both financially, militarily, and even in the media. Understand? So, and their secret agents, understand, Mossad, are everywhere in the world gathering information on what might affect them. So, to kill them as they wanted to do in 1979 or so wouldn't be so easy. Understand? They are now the one deciding who gets what in the Middle East. And they have also ensured that Iran and Saudi Arabia are not at peace, because these are the other two strong nations there. So when you put your enemies in disarray, you have freedom. So, and this is what Israel has succeeded in doing.
All right, we pray. For once, I pray for peace and, calm to be restored within that region. I so much love the Middle East. But let's move away from that to another interesting story. Let's go to Congo now, where we learned that even after the U.S. helped in peace, accord in peace to be brokered between the M23 rebel group and the military group of DR Congo, we learned that the Uvira district is still, we see, according to report, that some members of the M23 rebels still are present within this district. And we could also recall that, within even after they captured Goma and Bukavu earlier this year, they took over the Uvira near the Burundi border. And, with this peace, they've broken, and yet their persistent presence in that region. Are we going to see another eruption of war in DR Congo?
What we should know is that this is not automatic. It's going to take a gradual process. The M23 has said that they are moving. Understand? So I shouldn't you shouldn't expect them to move under 24 hours.
But now let's look at it this way. On 10th of December, after this peace were brokered by the DR Congo and Rwanda, they signed it. US was there too. They have a peace deal and everything. So why would they still go on to violate that peace accord? Because that's what some people, especially those within that area, they are complaining about. That as of 10 kilometers away from Uvira, they can still see the heavy presence of the members of the M23 rebel. How long do they need for them to evacuate, or for them to vacate, I beg your pardon, vacate the region now? And and, go back to Rwanda or any other place that they belong to. Why would they still be there? We have not seen them also, because when they left Goma and Bukavu, they were hoping that they will also leave this district of Uvira, but they are still there.
Going to Rwanda may not be an option because Kagame has never accepted that those guys are from his country. Understand? So you can, and if they go back to Rwanda and they are accepted, then it means that he is the one funding
But he
them.
was the one that signed the peace accord with DR Congo. When the US broke out the peace, it was signed between DR Congo and Rwanda. But Kagame went for that. So doesn't that mean that he is already...
He had not taken responsibility of the M23.
But he went to broker peace.
Sure, because DR Congo had been accusing M23 of Rwanda of supporting them.
Exactly.
So the issue is peace accord is not automatic. It's a gradual process. And even after the ceasefire between Hamas and IDF, understand, there we are still bombs fighting until after a time it came to an end.
Are we going to see a Cold War break out in DR Congo? Because, even as of 2 days ago, the M23 rebel were asking the mediators to please help protect, the city from violence. More like they have a very important thing within the city of Uvira at this point, and other places that they have their own girl.
What normally happens is anywhere there is a conflict and there's a peace accord.
Yeah.
When they leave, peacekeepers always come down to fill this vacuum, that to make sure that nobody is hurt. Understand me? But I don't think if they think along this line, we are supposed that to have a standing force in Africa and also in West Africa.
Okay.
It's important. A standing army.
ECOWAS say they have. When they move into Burkina Faso, I beg your pardon, they move into Benin Republic. They say they have a standing military already.
Based that way.
They have already deployed them. I think I had a conversation with you because they said they've deployed their standing force into Benin Republic.
Where are they based? Where are they based?
Do we need any base for
we
us?
We know not to have a base. Where is ECOWAS? So for me, ECOMOG existed some years ago. It's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore, you say. Thank you so much. Let's move slightly away from that. Let's move away from Congo and get us into what is playing out in Togo. Yesterday, when I saw this news, I read it out, and someone beside me said, "Hi, I wish I'm from Togo." And then I asked, why will you say that? And the person was of the opinion that imagine a nation as Togo approving a national social protection policy to strengthen everybody in that country, the poor, the vulnerable, the aged, and, even women and every other thing. What do you make of this new policy that is being rolled out now, that is aimed to support the most vulnerable, including those affected by illness, by unemployment, and also those affected by natural disaster, providing perpetual income and better access to essential services to these people?
Well, for me, Bob Marley sang a song that every man thinks that his burden is the heaviest. I read a story on social media of a lady from Namibia who got a visa to Nigeria and was celebrating. Understand? And was celebrating that he got a visa to Nigeria. To us here, it might sound crazy. Understand? So, for me, I pray they put it to work. Understand? I pray that they put it that work, because making speeches is different from taking action. And the only way you can stop military intervention is by coming up with programs like this and implementing them. Because soldiers have their role. It is bad governance that makes them intervene in government. So it is policies like this, it is programs like this that can keep soldiers at bay. But once governance continues that to fail, once people continue to make noise, soldiers must
Looking
come.
at the economic strength of Congo, do you think that they can, carry out this policy, champion all these programs, and coordination across their public initiative and even, like the education, the nutrition, and even child protection without tilting towards more fund borrowing? Can they sustain it? Is it sustainable?
Their population is not much.
Can Nigeria, take a cue from what is playing out in Togo now and,
Nigeria has the resources to do all that and even more. Nigeria has the resources to do that and even more, but we don't have leaders with compassion in Nigeria.
Africa have been a country, a continent where people are talking about not having a comprehensive data. So how do you think they'll be able to carry out this when we don't even, for example, in Nigeria, we don't even know the numbers of vulnerable people that we have, or aged persons, or out of school, children that needed help, and women and all that. We don't really have a comprehensive data. And, that can also be said for some other African countries. So how would they be able to carry out this policy in Togo?
I don't really know much about them because Togo is among the African countries that doesn't do self-promotion. They're not always in the news. So I don't know how they're about that to do this. But in Nigeria, this lack of data is helping those in government by way of corruption. It is helping them. It is deliberate. They don't want to know how many we are in the country. After all, the last census that was conducted in Nigeria was in 2006 under Obasanjo. While census is supposed to be conducted every 10 years. There was none in 2016, and this is 2025. What Tinubu is talking about now is next election. So we don't know who we are, but it is deliberate. It is helping them in manipulating figures, rigging the election, and also stealing public funds.
All right. Let's take this conversation to Ghana, still in West Africa, where we learned that Ghana's parliament approved the amendment to the Bank of Ghana Act, where they have decided to limit central bank financing of government and also safeguard its independence. The reason for this is the fact that they found out that after they sponsored the government or aided the government to ameliorate its challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, they have spike in inflation, negative equity happen in the bank. And they decided to resort to this, making sure that they will find a way to bounce back without borrowing more funds and also revitalize their capital market and make sure that they have access to international market too. What do you have to say about this, having a benchmark on how much the government can take, both directly and indirectly? In Nigeria, we have such. We have a certain percentage the central bank can actually give to the government. But, through MFLA, we had one played out and all that.
That's on paper. The current president of Ghana is really doing a lot, in promoting accountability and so on and so forth, because what he's trying to do is what we have in America. In America, they call it the Feds. That's the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is not under the control of the United States president. It is totally independent. It operates on its own. And that's what this Ghanaian Act, Central Bank Act, is trying that to replicate. That to create a central bank that will be independent of government. And that is the only way it can work. Because in Nigeria, our CBN governor is under the beck and call of the president. Understand? So, and that's why even government find this difficult that you pay CBN the money that it borrowed from it.
But now, if this move, according to the Ghanaian authority or the Central Bank of Ghana, if this move, have this alignment with IMF, International Monetary Fund programs on how to stabilize inflation and restore investor confidence, why is it that Nigeria is not really looking to that direction? You just say something about us having such, but just that some persons will go all out to, to flout it, to pick more money and, get more loan. But Ghana understood that with this restriction, they will be able to, bring back the economy the way it should be and also have more confidence from foreign direct investors that will come into the country. So why is Nigeria looking into that direction?
Why the current president was re-elected was because he did well in his first term in the area of economy. So he is now coming to continue from where he stopped. And he is also bringing that innovations. For instance, when he was sworn in, he dissolved 7 ministries, just as a way of running what is now today small government idea, understanding, which is what is in vogue everywhere, small government. That was why Donald Trump came up with a Doge on the government of that's an efficient government, which is headed by Elon Musk. The same thing happened in Argentina, it's happening in Mexico. Bogus government doesn't reign anymore, but in Nigeria, we are still operating a bogus government. Our money being spent on payment of salaries and taking care of the elites. An instance, our constitution says 36 ministers, one from each of the states, but Tinubu is operating 48 ministers. For what? Understand? So the Ghanaian president dissolved 7 ministries, which is 7 ministers gone. And the money will be channeled into rebuilding of their economy, which is the way to go. For me, Ghana is going back to the days of Kwame and Nkrumah. Understand? When they have respect. Because at that time, Nigeria was even called Nigeria Ghana. Because Ghana has more respect, was even more known than Nigeria. So they are going back to their old days, while we are still making one step forward, 5 steps backward.
Now, when you say we're making 5 steps backwards, we're told some time ago that before the general election in Ghana, they came into Nigeria to learn some of the works or the things that were put in place for our election. And then Nigerians were of the opinion, or some questions actually were raised during that period. What is there to learn from? The use of the beavers that we couldn't see function, IREV that couldn't, give the report results electronically and all that. So instead of moving one step forward, 7 backwards, why should we have the likes of Ghana that think they have everything under control come into the country to learn from us, especially our electoral
There's nothing wrong in copying and improving. Understand me?
You think they come in to copy and go home to improve?
To improve, because they had a better election where an incumbent was defeated. That shows you that it's a credible election.
Can we say that of the 2015 election also that happened in... 2015 election that happened in Nigeria?
It was manipulation of Barack Obama.
Incumbent was defeated.
But it was manipulation. It has outside the manipulation. Barack Obama manipulated the
When are we going
election.
to stop apportioning blames or pointing fingers to people over things that we couldn't get right?
Until we stop those people from interfering.
How can you say people are the ones interfering in your business or your affairs and your internal affairs without you inviting them? Is it really possible? Just like saying you're in your house and someone invaded it without your invitation. Not invasion now, someone just encroach and take over your home without inviting the person.
Obama invaded.
How? How possible is it? Is Obama the one in charge of your INEC?
Go back and listen to the tape of John Kerry, who was the Secretary of State then.
I think if
with
everything...
the 19 governors.
Dr. Peter Anosike, Nigerians in 2015 come out en masse to cast their vote, hoping that the All Progressives Congress will give them the hope, which they believe was their mantra then, change that they need. PDP was in office for 16 years, and they said they're going to extend it for over 60 years. And then that was the first time an incumbent was defeated in Nigeria. And, the rest, they say, is story.
It wasn't free and fair.
When you say...
It wasn't free and fair. It wasn't free and fair.
When you say it wasn't free and fair, will you also say that the 2009 election that brought in Olusegun Obasanjo in Nigeria was free and fair?
2000 and what?
2009 election.
No, the Obasanjo was left office to 2007.
2007 was Obasanjo left, exactly. When, will you say that the election that brought him into office was also free and fair?
That time, there were only two Yorubas that contested.
Can you say that of the same thing of late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua?
Umaru Musa Yar'Adua complained that the election that brought him into office wasn't all that
So that
credible.
shows we've been having elections.
And wanted, but 2025 was that was bad, but 2023 is the worst ever in Nigeria history.
So why should we keep on blaming or pointing fingers also to people? Can you say that the 2023 election also have Obama, Barack's hands in it that made the election not to work well? We're looking at why we keep on pointing fingers and apportioning blames.
No, the 2023 election was stolen. Everybody knowing.
Stolen by who?
By the party,
so
by the
are
APC.
we doing ourselves good? Well, we'll keep on pointing fingers to say these people do us wrong. The West are the ones to be blamed. I could recall a book written by Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. But an African have also come up to write another book, How Africa is underdeveloping Africa up until today.
Because
so when are we going to get it right?
That's leadership problem. We've not gotten the right people that's at the helm of Africa.
Can we say that of the people that were in Africa before now, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and then so many of them, Nelson Mandela, South Africa.
They were not material conscious.
So what happened? Why do we have it wrong at this point?
The society is degenerating.
Is it a society?
The society is degenerating. Understand? Everybody is a product of his or her environment. Understand? The society is degenerating. Human beings are getting worse.
Society is degenerating. Human beings are getting worse. And that is what we see playing out now in Africa.
Exactly.
And it's not playing out in every other, the Western world, in the Far East. It's not playing out there. It's just in Africa that we're making that same excuse.
It's just in Africa. And some time ago, the economic minister of South Africa said that black man cannot rule himself, and that's still what's happening now.
Black man cannot, but you just pointed black men who rule themselves. Nelson Mandela did it, it worked for him. Julius Nyerere did it, it worked. And we also have all the Kwame Nkrumah did it, and so many other persons. Jomo Kenyatta, I think, also played a good role.
That's what I said.
So when you say Africans cannot rule themselves, then what magic did those men perform while they were there?
Those ones were with the white people, understand me? Then how they were doing things. Mind you, the progress that Nigeria made from 1960 to 1966, they have not made that progress for over 50 years now. Nigeria just moved forward from 1962 to 1966. Understand me? So it means that that human beings are on a decline.
In what year again do we have a dollar equivalent to naira, 1 naira in Nigeria?
Mind you, Gowon as the head of state said that our problem is not money but how to spend
was it. Was it between 1960 to 1966?
Even as
we're looking at economic progress.
As 82. We still have naira being equal to a.
So do we have
dollar.
white men then in 1982 in Nigeria?
Shagari was there with the white men.
As of 1980s, we still have the
1982, Shagari as the head of state.
That was after the Nigeria-Biafra war. We still have white men in Nigeria.
No, I'm telling you the mentality.
Okay, the mentality of not...
Shagari worked with the white people. 1981, they approved the 50,000 naira for Shagari as the president, 30,000 naira for Ekweme as the vice. Shagari said it's too much. Can any of them say that thing now? Understand me? So these people worked with the white men, understand? Then from them.
And the legacies that they learned from them or picked from them, they couldn't send it or, let it trickle down to what we're having now. Even when we have direct contact now with the white. Recall that for any election to happen, for example, in Nigeria, there must be a visa to Chatham House where they are allowed to drop their manifestos and all that. So what is there that they couldn't learn from them?
Are you aware that in one school in Anambra State, I don't know if you saw that story, primary school, to contest for the prefect, you pay 5,000.
Talking about that, I wouldn't want us to deviate.
Just imagine children growing with such a mentality. Understand? You have started paying money
but nothing
to contest.
Nothing is free. Nothing is free to start with.
That's where it
people
starts.
People believe have it free.
That is where it starts.
No, before we move over to Benin Republic, where we learned that President Patrice Talon is more like making case for the military that wanted to upturn the government by saying that it's not all the military that joined hands in that forward.
When they say that Nigeria intervened, France also intervened. Understand me?
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be removing France from the picture. They also intervened in stopping the coup.
But he was holding brief for the military one that took part in that, that some persons, according to him, they call some of the coup plotters thugs and small-scale terrorists. They were being encouraged by, marginal political actors. What do you have to say about this? Because we're looking at their politics and how it's being played. Let's also bring in the fact that today, the Green Chamber, House of Representatives in Nigeria, have decided to upscale the peg of the campaign monies that will be spent or is expected to be spent by the president, governors, senators, House of Rep members. I think the president will now enjoy 10 billion instead of 5 billion naira campaign fee. And every other. So what role do you think political actors are playing in shaping of Africa? Both the coups that we're having, I think over how many of them now? 7 countries now.
7
already.
This Benin should have been 8.
8, and So what role do you think political actors are playing in reshaping of Africa?
For me, the Benin president should thank his stars, understand? Because a lot of people in Benin was not happy with his government, understand me? And when that coup happened, there were celebrations in Cotonou and other parts of the country. So that night, what saved him was the foreign intervention. Otherwise, he's already out. So he should now, his second missionary journey now, he should try to be putting other people first. And that's the only way to avoid coming back again.
Putting the people first to take us to South Africa, where the United States condemned the South African government for detaining U.S. officers who, according to them, were providing support to Afrikaner minority. Recall that this is not the first time that the Donald Trump administration is vocal about the activities or how the white minority in South Africa is being maltreated by the blacks, And now we're getting this information. He, first of all, said he's not going to invite South Africa for the G20 summit. And now we're getting another information that some U.S. officials in South Africa, according to him, providing aids to white minority were being detained, though they've been freed and they've been released. But Kenyans who are helping them, who are helping these U.S. officials now were also arrested. Trump is saying that he wants to take out the white minority from South Africa.
About 70,000.
So where is he taking them to? When he on his own is trying to force on Africans, the people whom their country of origins have rejected, ex-convicts. He's trying to find a way to bring them to Africa. Have a Swatini receive a certain amount of money to bring some people there. And, that is also what some people have alleged or alleged to be what is causing the rift between U.S. president and the Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. Also in Nigeria, so that played out, where they wanted to send some persons to us from the prison to Nigeria. And rejecting or refusing this is what some have said is what is leading to all this backlash.
Well, the issue is the xenophobia has been in South Africa for some time. Understand me?
When you talk about xenophobia, you ruling out the apartheid, which also lasted for so many years in South Africa by the white minority suppressing the black majority in South Africa.
But xenophobia is in Africans killing Africans.
But we're looking at that because the Boers say they are now Africans. They are now Africans, even though they added Afrikaner to their name to say they are now Africans. They don't have any other thing to do rather than just to be with Africa. And we know that from the look of things, they are still occupying majority of the economic hands of South Africa up until today, even after the apartheid and also the emergence of Nelson Mandela as the president of South Africa then.
Well, the truth is that I interviewed Cyril Ramaphosa in 2000 when he was the president of ANC, understand? When he was the president of ANC, understand? And the issue is what Mandela, that's Nelson gave to South Africa is political independence. The economy of South Africa is still in the hands of the whites.
So on what ground then is it that Trump is making the trouble, or rather talking about how the white minorities are being, marginalized? When you're just making, you just made reference to that again, that a whole lot, especially the economic strength of South Africa, still rely heavily.
It's still in the hands of the whites. But the issue is this: Mandela and Ramaphosa don't have they don't belong to the same school of thought. Understand? They don't belong to the same school of thought. Ramaphosa is like a student of Robert Mugabe, Africa for Africa. Understand? So what he's not trying to do is that we have to nationalize everything in our country. This is what is causing this problem. We want to take over our lands because it is the whites, the Indians, that are doing the farming, mechanized farming in South Africa. Understand? So, but the truth is that South Africans themselves are not hardworking. South Africans are not hardworking. A typical Indian will want to hire a Nigerian, understand, okay, or a Zimbabwean than somebody from South Africa because they have this entitlement mentality.
Interesting.
That's really what is happening there.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Anosike, for being part of today's African News. I would have loved us to, continue with the analysis, but we're pressed for time, and this is how far we can go. Dr. Peter Anosike is an erudite scholar and also an author, as well as a political and public affairs commentator. Thank you for being part of today's African News.
Thank you for having me.
All right, to go on a quick break, and when we come back, the rest of the African News continues. So to stay with us. Glad to have you back as still the African News and Voice of the People television. Zambia's president, Hakainde Hichilema, has signed constitutional changes that expand parliament, a move critics say could favor his party ahead of the next year's elections. The changes increase MPs from 167 to around 280, creating new constituency, reserving 40 seats for women, youth, and people with disabilities, and allowing the president to appoint 11 members instead of 8. Critics, including the local Catholic Church, says the changes were rushed and may benefit Hichilema's party in the August 2026 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hichilema, ruling for a second term, says the reforms were made in good faith after consultation, arguing some constituencies were too large for effective service delivery and needed splitting. Moving on, King Charles of the United Kingdom sent condolences to Kenya 2 months after former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's death. The message was received by President William Ruto at Nairobi State House. The king praised Raila as a steadfast leader who championed the interests of ordinary Kenyans and strengthened the country's democratic space. The message was delivered by UK Embassy Church d'Affaires Ed Bennett. Raleigh passed away on October 15 while receiving treatment in southern India. Still in the news, Tanzanian government is stepping up effort to tackle Dar es Salaam's persistent water shortages. Minister for Water Juma Aweso outlined plans to ensure residents have reliable access to clean water. This week, Aweso met with the Dar es Salaam Water and Sewerage Authority, directing them to prioritize uninterrupted water supply across all city zones. The city has faced weeks of scarcity driven by rapid urbanization, aging infrastructure, and unpredictable rainfall. Aweso also highlighted ongoing government investment in major water projects to expand supply and improve distribution. Moving on to the business segment of the African news, Morocco's annual inflation rose to 0.3% in September, up from 0.1% in August, according to the country's statistics agency. Food prices, the main driver of inflation, dropped 1.2% year on year, while non-food prices rose 0.4%. Core inflation, which excludes volatile items, fell 0.9% from a year earlier and 0.4% month on month. The Moroccan Central Bank says inflation is expected to average 0.8% in 2025, rising to 1.3% in 2026 and 1.9% in 2027. Still in business, Guinea's Simandou mining project is laying off thousands just as it begins exporting iron ore decades after delays and corruption scandals. The project, hailed by the military government as a symbol of economic transformation, was officially launched in November with pomp and a public holiday ahead of elections on December 28, the fourth since the 2021 coup that brought Mamadi Doumbouya to power. Even without Simandou, Guinea is the world's largest bauxite exporter, but its mining wealth has done little to improve the lives of most citizens. World Bank data from 2025 shows more than half of the population still lives in poverty. From the sports segment of the African news, Nigeria's music superstar Davido will perform at the official kick-off concert of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. He will headline the concert alongside French Montana, Dola Layoui, Seizi, and Latiste. The event is set for the Soisi fan zone in Rabat on Saturday. Meanwhile, Morocco is showing it is ready to host the rest of Africa as the tournament approaches. At Mohammed V International Airport in Casablanca, banners for the 2025 AFCON lines to terminals and a giant trophy display has fans taking pictures. Heading into Casablanca city center, more AFCON 2025 banners mark the streets, signal the country's excitement for the event. The tournament kick off on Sunday with host Morocco facing Comoros at the Stade Prince Moulay Abdallah in Rabat. And that is it on the African News and Voice of the People television. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and across all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness report, event coverage request, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-405. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Fina Okechukwu. Good afternoon and thanks for watching.
you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV, channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpeon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, with the sport.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Lovisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Uyi Osarate is my name. I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another enlightening edition of Health Check, the program where we discuss key issues that affect our health and well-being right here on Voice of the People Television. I'm Praise Peters, and as always, I'm delighted to bring you fresh energy and a deep commitment to unpacking health concerns in ways that are real, relevant, and of course, empowering. Now remember, you can watch us live on SLTV channel 264 and follow us across all social media platforms at VOP TV Live. And today we're focusing on something really, really interesting, something very crucial, something very important, and very relatable, of course. Gut health and immunity. So we're going to be exploring why a healthy digestive system is crucial for overall well-being, how it impacts immunity, and what we can basically do to protect it. So, in case you do not know, our gut is more than just a stomach. It actually includes the intestines, the hosts, the trillions of bacteria and microbes known as the gut microbiome. And it plays a central role in digestion, nutrient absorption, and even immunity. So, I don't know, but do you know that about 70% of our immune system resides in the gut? That's how vital it is to maintain a very healthy digestive system, of course. So to help us understand this better, we're joined today by a highly experienced and respected guest in person of Dr. Onileowo Damilola, a medical practitioner with over 10 years of experience and a wellness practitioner for 7 years, dedicated to preventive health and lifestyle improvements. You're very welcome, Doctor.
Oh, thank you very much.
Welcome to Health Check. It's good to have you on the show.
Same here.
All right. So, Doctor, how have you been? How's your week been? How's everything? And how's the profession going?
It's been good so far. We've been good.
All right. So, I'd like to just ask this very quickly.
Yes.
What's one thing that you really, really practice as a doctor that you know is very important to every individual out there that they should practice as well?
Well, eating well, primarily.
Eating well,
yes.
balanced diet, or eating well is wide.
Yeah, true.
You can say eating well like eating good food,
True.
or eating well like eating to your satisfaction, or eating people like me now that do junk. Meat pie. I love all those things. So specify what type of eating well.
So eating good food, that's one, and then eating at the appropriate time. So those two things.
So we midnight foodies. What do you say to us?
Not appropriate.
All right. So we're even going to be talking about the gut, digestion, and all of that. So let's start with the basics real quick. So what exactly is the gut? And why is it so important for our overall health?
Okay, so the gut is a hollow passageway that runs from the mouth down to the anus, passing through the esophagus and the neck, down to the stomach, and to the intestines. So it passes all through the intestines and then comes out as waste. So primarily it's used for nutrients and for waste evacuation from the system.
Oh.
Yeah, so absorbing of nutrients and then waste evacuation from the system.
All right, so how does the gut really influence our immune system and help fight the body infections and all of that?
Oh, yeah. So there are a lot of pathways, especially in the intestines, where these nutrients get absorbed and they help fight any immune body system that the body can have. It also has a lot of bacteria, viruses that help fighting off infections. That also helps with fighting off against any outside invaders. So they fight against invaders, protecting their own space. So it helps overall. And weirdly enough, it also helps with the moods. So if you're feeling, yes.
Really? How?
Yeah. So, 90% of serotonin, the thing that controls every human being's mood, is produced in the gut. So, yeah, if you're feeling sad or you feel something
we don't hear this word enough. I used to think that the parts of the body inside is just the stomach and all those. I never knew that the gut was this important.
Oh, it is quite important. And it's quite fun too. That's one of the reasons why people that work on the gut primarily, they have a lot of cases where they help out all patients.
All right, so can you explain precisely the role of the gut microbiome in keeping us healthy?
Okay, so like I said, they fight off foreign bodies. They also help process any foods that enter the stomach at any point in time. So the processing starts from the mouth all the way down to your large intestine. Then it comes out through the rectal region. The main part that does almost all the nutrients production is the small intestine. That's the main factory of all the absorption of most of the nutrients. So by the time it's getting into the large intestine, it's just being processed as waste a lot of the times. But a majority of the absorption is done there. And so that's the primary place for the immune system. That if that place gets messed up, you can have a lot of chronic diseases.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the best place for...
Okay, talking about getting messed up, what are the things that could make the gut messed up?
Okay, so it depends on what you eat and how much you eat. And the timing, like I said, the timing too also works. So if you eat, like, let's say junk that you're saying, for instance, now, like, let's say you eat smoked food, the body, once it enters the body processes things that goes to fight against this kind of meals. And it's like, oh, this is a foreign body, it tries to attack. So people that eat a lot of it just do a lot of damage to...
Is it eating a lot of it or eating it at all?
So, eating it at all, the body can still fight it off. quite quickly,
but eating it
consistently causes long-term damage. So it's like a damage that doesn't repair fully, that just keeps damaging and damaging and damaging.
Wow. Okay, the body tends to repair itself.
Yes.
Wow.
So God is a very, very good designer.
All right,
Yeah.
I understand. But can you be more specific on the kind of foods that could damage the guts? You know, you talked about smoked foods. I don't know. Just can you put more light on this so we'll know what to avoid and what to keep taking?
Okay, so high sugar foods doesn't help. Foods high in fats also doesn't help. Then junk foods in general, carbonated drinks, things like extremely fried foods. Those things don't help overall long term. But I know it's very, very delicious, but
exactly. Are we supposed to help? How do we now do away with what we like?
So I tell people just eat as little as possible and eat more of the good food. If you eat more of the good food and eat those things maybe 2-3 times in a week, it's not going to do as much damage as if you eat it every single day of the week and then.
Okay, talking about timing, what's the most appropriate time to eat?
Okay, so breakfast.
Some people take their breakfast at 7 p.m.
No.
And I know some of them.
Yeah.
Some people take their breakfast in the afternoon while some fast, but we really want to know what's healthy, you know.
Okay. So
and some people take their dinner at midnight, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe
I see a lot of people that do that too. So, but breakfast generally should be around 7 to 8 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So something light, like maybe something with low cereal, little milk. You can't. Another thing again, people do tend to take a lot of milk every day, and I'm like, no, it's meant to be something that.
Oh, so excess usage of milk is not
it's
so
not
great.
so good, especially for we blacks. We are mostly lactose intolerant, from what they're saying. I don't know how accurate it is, but they're saying lactose intolerance is more in the black community than in the foreigner. So you tend to see a lot of milk, and you're like, why are you drinking this much milk? Like, it's good for the body. But no,
and most of us take it every morning.
Yeah.
Milk, tea,
So
those things.
then I see some taking caffeine like about 3-4 times a day. I'm like, why are you doing this much punishment? It's not good. But I try to advise as much as possible. Take all those things very seldom. Eat something light in the morning, maybe fruits. That's good as well. If you take fruits in the morning, then you can do lunch something heavy, like let's say around 2-3. That's not so bad. Then dinner by 7-8 max. You should have taken dinner, and so that you can walk it off before you go to sleep by 9-10. So you can do a light exercise right before you sleep. Maybe just walk around.
But you know, I've once heard that eating late is not so bad if you're not going to sleep immediately. How true is that? Because some people tend to be nocturnal and they work overnight, read overnight, or stuff like that.
But they don't,
and at
they
some
don't
point
move
they might
around
get
overnight.
hungry.
So that's the thing. They don't move around overnight. You walk, maybe you're doing something on your laptop. You're not really processing. Okay, so the thing with the way the body works, you eat, let's say your body's telling you, I'm hungry. You eat, sometimes you tend to overeat. So your body has taken more than the adequate amount of fat. Then there's this hormone called insulin. It comes in, uses the one that it wants to use for energy, then sees that, okay, now I have to dump the rest. Where do I dump this to? Then it processes as fats, and the most common place where it dumps it is your abdomen, and then you start having the big tummies, and then you start saying, oh my God,
okay.
why am I having big tummy?
That explains big tummy.
Yeah, so for people that eat at night, especially late in the night, they're the ones that develop those kind of tummy. So it's like, and that's a precursor for diabetes. So I try to tell people, don't eat too late. Just eat 7-8, then walk, do a 30-minute walk, and you should be fine.
All right, so let's move to the signs that someone's gut is not working properly. Because the major aim of this program is to create awareness and to give the right information to the masses. So we need to know how we can detect these things early. So what are the common signs to know that, okay, this my gut, I think it's not working as
well
good
as
it should. So how do we know that?
So feeling of bloating. That's when your stomach feels full, even though you didn't even eat a quarter of what you usually eat. when you don't pass excretion as much as possible. So let's say typically you go once a day and you've not gone like 2-3 days, to be like strong. If it's strong, it's not good as well. That means you need to take more liquids. And that's another thing we're going to talk about. Liquid is very, very important. Big. Just eat a small portion and drink lots of water and you still feel the same as someone that eats the whole plate in the world and then drank with water.
Okay, I'm quite interested in the bloating aspect, right?
Okay.
I know a lot of people that bloat on a normal day and it's very, very consistent. What are the, seeming symptoms? Okay, not symptoms. What are the seeming causes of bloating? Is it just based on this gut thing or there is more to it?
There are some that say that it could be due to the menstrual, but it's still based on the guts at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to your gut moving slowly than usual. So typically, your gut is meant to move at a certain pace. If it's moving too fast, causes diarrhea. If it's moving too slow, causes bloating, constipation, all those other things. So if it's moving too slow, that's when you see that you're full more than necessary because either your tummy is filled with gas or it's filled with the food that it has not come out the proper way. So that in itself is not a good sign and can cause problems down the road.
All right, so for emphasis purposes, let's look at diet, lifestyle, all of those things. So are there particular foods that can keep our guts healthy?
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Can you precisely name them?
Vegetables, fruits, we already know a lot of them. Then less carbohydrates, more proteins. Then you do low fiber diets. You do more of onions, tomatoes in your food than celery, cabbage. Put them in your food, mix them up. Then eat lots of fruits and drink a lot of water, like I said. If you do that and you don't take all the, oh my God, I must eat all the chicken shawarma in the whole world. I must take all the suyas. I'm like, yeah, it's good when you're eating it, but it's a lot of punishment down the road.
On your body.
Yeah.
All right. So we should be more considerate about our health, not just about what is sweet to us.
Yes. So it's like someone told me once that nothing good comes without a little bit of discomfort. So I know that taking that sweet thing is very, very nice, feels good. But you think about the downside and you're like, okay, let me just avoid this and
for your own good. All right. So you've mentioned eating late.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned taking lots of liquid. Are there other habits that could keep our guts healthy?
That's sitting down. Now, sitting down is better than lying down, don't get me wrong, but walking about is definitely better than sitting down. It will help your body process the food into the right places. And within that first 1 hour, your body is processing more of the food than within the next 3 hours that it will empty the bowel completely. So that first 1 hour, you just do a slight walk. 30 minutes maximum, your body is going to be like, okay, this person needs a lot more energy. So it's going to put more energy, more effort into producing energy than producing fat. And at the point in time, it will produce energy, give to your legs, produce energy, give to your hands. You'll be more active. You'll even feel better overall than if you're just sitting down. Now, sitting down, it has its advantages, don't get me wrong. Like, you can sit down and you can have fun talking to your friends, relaxing, but moving around, let's just give him a little bit of energy so that he can function and then process the rest into fats. It's not going to do much this night. So your own body is telling you that, I already know you. You're not going to do so much of a program this night. Let's just call it a night and go to sleep. But if you do this routine things, even if it's a little bit of exercise, your body is going to feel like it needs to give you more energy so that you can outperform the day. And as the years go by, that's going to be more beneficial because your insulin is always going to be as working to rest. It's not just going to be working non-stop, where it's producing more fats, and then you won't be obese, and then it won't get to a point where you have diabetes because your insulin has stopped doing the necessary things. So those overall help with the gut.
All right, so let's talk about high sugar intake.
Okay.
How does this affect the gut?
Okay, so
because sometimes we take sugar and we do not know that we are taking sugar. For example, I read that there is a high amount of sugar in rice.
Yes.
And this is just normal food. Like, come on, who doesn't like rice?
Right.
You know, so when we hear sugar, we tend to only think that sugar, oh, the one you put in gari, or when you're taking it raw, or when you're taking juice, or when you're taking a very sweet or something. But we tend to forget that there are sugar, there are certain amounts of sugar in very normal, basic, everyday, food. So how does this affect the guts, basically?
Okay, so first, let's tackle the idea of the sugar part. Like, almost all foods contain sugar.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. Almost all. Then the level of sugar that it contains. So once we classify food as carbohydrates, it contains more sugar than almost all the other foods. And the basic thing for sugar is so that you can have energy. That's the primary role of eating those things. It's not to consume to the point where you start gaining a lot of weight. Because I see some people say, I need to gain weight. I'm like, you don't know how much side effect this is to your body. You shouldn't gain a lot of weight. You should just gain the bare minimum so that you can function into the next day. Like, you see a lot of people that if they maintain their figures going into their 40s, 50s, they are still more agile than someone that has gained an exorbitant amount of weight and can't really do much anymore. And it's like, oh, I'm always tired. I'm like, yeah, because you've put your body through a lot of things in the past. Then for foods in general about carbohydrates, so the way carbohydrates works in the stomach is it starts being processed from the mouth, breaks it down. So by the time it gets into the gut, it is producing a sugar. So there are different levels of sugar in our science. That's why whenever we say sugar, people think, oh, it's sugary stuff. No, it's just food that has been broken down into sugar in your body. So once that's broken down into sugar, the body now decides, do I use it as energy or do I convert it into fat storage? And the reason why it's converting into fat storage is so that it can break it down at a later date and use it as sugar. So overall, your body needs sugar for almost everything that it does. To think, to move, to react to things, act to things. Even for the guts to be moving, it still needs those energy storage. So that's why a human body can go like about 1 to 2 weeks without eating anything and it will still be fine. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
But it feels like if you have not eaten for the day, you're about to die.
So, okay, so that's a signal from the tummy when it's empty. It's empty, it tells you, oh, it needs to be refilled.
Okay.
But that doesn't,
like anything happens.
that's just a signal from God that tells you, okay, you need to refill. But in actual fact, you don't need to refill every time you're hungry. You can go hungry for a few days and you'd still be fine.
As long as you're taking water.
Exactly. You can't go without water for a day.
Okay.
But you can go hungry for a day.
All right, so are you saying we should take more protein than carbohydrates?
Yes. Overall, take more proteins and more fruits than carbohydrates. If you do that, so my idea for diet, now this has not been confirmed, but my idea for diet is eat fruits in the morning, take a heavy carbohydrate in the afternoon, and eat something light in the evening.
Fruits in the morning?
Like, let's say something like rice in the afternoon, and then at night, go for maybe fruits, something, anything light that you can think is light, and it's not going to just accumulate in your system. And you would even feel lighter overall moving.
All right. So let's talk about probiotics now.
Okay.
So what role does probiotics play in gut health? And fermented food like yogurt, I heard that they're really good.
Yes.
So can you put more light on that?
Okay, so probiotics, what they help is they help stabilize the normal flora. That's the normal bacteria and viruses in the gut. So if you have more probiotics, if you take it to help build more, and then your body develops immune system against any foreign invaders. The thing with some people I've seen is sometimes they take a little bit too much and the thing overgrows and causes more problems. So typically your normal flora should develop to a certain level. It should not grow too much, it should not grow too little. Growing too much can cause, especially for women, it can cause UTIs and other diseases. And then growing too little, it will cause a lot of infections, chronic diseases, sometimes cancer as well.
Okay, but for the sake of the viewers that do not really know what probiotics mean, can you break down what it means on examples? Is it just yogurt and all of that?
Okay, so probiotics are foods that support the growth of bacteria in the gut. So milk is one of them, yogurt is one of them, cheese, I think, is also another one. I'm not 100% sure, but there's this thing that they call fura. I'm not sure if you know what it is, but I don't know what it is in English, but that's another version of it. So things like that are overall good for the guts. Like if you take once in a while, like let's say once or twice in a week. Most habits don't really affect the gut as much as possible.
Okay.
It's just the more you move your body, the more the gut wants to process things faster for you so that you can get more energy. So exercises affect the guts. Well, poor sleep can affect the guts, but other than that, most of the things you do is the gut that affects, not the other way around.
Oh, all right.
Like if you are extremely happy, for instance, now your gut probably had something to do with it. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You talked about it affecting the mood.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the common causes of digestive infections?
Okay, so the most common ones are the ones that cause the acute problems most of the time. That's the diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, those kind of things. So we have things like dysentery, cholera. I know there was a recent outbreak a few months ago.
Yes,
so those are the common ones we have in Nigeria. And then the ones that occur in the normal gut that overgrow sometimes, like E. coli. So E. coli can cause diarrhea. Those are the things that we see commonly in Nigeria.
So what usually causes these different digestive infections?
A lot of them are from eating something bad. So
food poisoning?
Yes. So if you eat something not so good or not properly cooked or not properly washed, it can cause all these things. Like, let's say, for instance, people that don't wash their hands and then they go pick up fruits and they start eating it, and then they transfer that from their hands to their mouth down to the tummy, and then they come down with diarrhea and they're like, oh my God. Then also, if you eat late at night and you now go to sleep, if you're over full in lying down position, it can cause there to be over spillage. Maybe the food will not go down properly, and then you can come up with either diarrhea or vomiting in the morning. Yeah, so because the food is still long in the tummy, it can produce a lot of harmful gases in your tummy and then come back.
Okay, so at what point should we seek professional medical help? Because most of the time we feel like we can handle these very common things ourselves. You would agree with me that Nigerians self-medicate a lot. And we self-diagnose a lot. So at what point should we seek medical help instead of just going to get maybe paracetamol and all of that?
Okay, so once you've noticed that you're stooling for a couple of hours, let's say you've gone to the toilet like about 6 to 7 times within 12 hours, just go see the doctor. Or if you notice that you've started vomiting, go see the doctor immediately. Because that one, it means that there's an inflammation going on and it needs to be taken care of by a professional. So those two things are basically how I tell people, okay. And then for the chronic ones, if you notice that you're stooling, it might not be consistent, but you're stooling like going on for like about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just go see a doctor. It's like, so it's the consistency, the speed of if it's coming too much within 12 hours, or if it is coming slowly within a few weeks. Like, let's say you do like 2 to 3 times a day for those 3 weeks. Now you can go see a doctor and you tell them, doctor, I've been stooling, my stool has not been so well formed for the last 3 weeks. He would know what to do next.
All right, this has been a very, very interesting conversation so far. And right about now, we'll be going on a short break. And when we return, we're talking about gut health, prevention, and public awareness, of course. Just stay tuned.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
All right, glad to have you back. This is still Health Check on your favorite station, the Voice of the People television. We've been talking gut health and immunity. And I'm still with our amiable, wonderful doctor, in person of Dr. Onileowo Damilola. And we've been talking about the gut health, basically the digestive system, how to better take care of your gut and all of that. But right now we're talking about the preventions, because what we do here is pass the right information to you. So doctor, thank you so much for staying till this time.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. So, doctor, why do you think the gut health? Because actually, it's really being overlooked. Really being overlooked. Yes. We only focus on the parts of our bodies that we can see, forgetting that the